India's exports in January dipped by 6.58% to $32.91 billion, as against $35.23 billion in the same month last year, according to the data released by the Commerce Ministry on Wednesday. The trade deficit in January touched a 12-month low of $17.75 billion during the month, according to official data. Imports in January also declined by 3.63% to $50.66 billion, as against $52.57 billion in the same month last year. Cumulatively, during April to January 2022-23, the country's merchandise exports rose 8.51% to $369.25 billion, while the imports during the period increased by 21.89% to $602.20 billion, the data showed. The merchandise trade deficit for the April to January this fiscal stood at about $233 billion. The country's exports had contracted by 12.2% to $34.48 billion in December 2022. Last time, it was in January 2022, when the trade deficit touched $17.42 billion. Export sectors that recorded negative growth during the 10 months period of this fiscal include engineering goods, iron ore, plastic and linoleum, gems and jewelry. Engineering exports dipped by 3.37% to $88.27 billion United States dollars during April to January 2022-23. In the same period, gems and jewelry shipments declined by 0.54% to $31.61 billion United States dollars. Sectors which recorded positive growth include petroleum products, electronic goods, rice, ready-made garments of textiles and chemicals. The overall exports, goods and services growth in the current financial year is about 17.33%. The main engine behind this export growth is the services sector, which has been growing at a historically high growth rate of about 30%. Merchandise exports are also cumulatively growing at 8.5%. We are optimistic that this growth momentum would continue despite strong global headwinds, said Commerce Secretary Sunil Bathwal, reported PTI. Gold imports during April to January this fiscal declined by 11.26% to $29 billion, as against $40.35 billion United States dollars in the same period last year. In the 10 months of the current fiscal, crude oil imports rose 53.54% to $178.45 billion. Similarly, imports of coal, coke and briquettes rose by 18.91% to $43.17 billion.